Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update, Monday, December 18th, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 2023. The long-awaited eruption on the Reykjanes Peninsula has occurred. The fissure began pumping out massive amounts of lava just about 4 or 5 hours ago, and the fissure has now grown over 4 kilometers. That is 2.5 miles long, literally eclipsing all of the eruptions in the last 3 years. Keep calm. It's boom time. Record-setting storm wallops the East Coast with flooding, high winds. Over 800,000 customers had no power in the Northeast by Monday afternoon, while major coastal flooding pushed water levels up to 4 feet above normal. Flash flood warning ends for northern New Hampshire. Flood threats for some rivers remain. It's insane. The White Mountains especially. North Country was hit hard by storms that caused, well, not just flooding, biblical flooding, closing roads, and blowing minds. Take a look at this. And yes, that is a home down there. That is insane. This is a video of Jackson Falls in New Hampshire. Absolutely mind-blowing. The amount of water, obviously this is a record flow here, and I hope that house is still there. I mean, oh my goodness. That's not the only flooding, and here we can see power outage US in the outages earlier today, almost over 500,000 just in Maine and Massachusetts alone. And here is more flooding. This is a typical stream, typically a stream in the winter, but more of a raging river now,
where torrents of rain.
No.
Oh crap!
My house. Why do you care about your house? Whitewater rafting.
I know, that's what I said before we left.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we're doomed.
We are doomed. No.
Oh crap!
My house.
And we're sure many people were doomed, not only from the flooding, but take a look at this. Some of the highest winds ever recorded in the last century. 90-mile-per-hour gusts beating records dating back to the 60s and 70s. At Blue Hill, take a look at that. Amazing nor'easter and completely unprecedented. Here are the numbers earlier today when we started research for the show, showing 650,000 people without power in Maine and Massachusetts alone. Let's refresh that and see if the powers that be have gotten, well, nope, this is 6, maybe 7 hours later. It's now 8 p.m. and we still have over 500,000 in Maine and Massachusetts without power. Now, the number in Maine is unprecedented. 419,000 customers without power. That's millions of people. There are only 850,000 customers in all of the state. So half of the state is in the dark. And our hearts and our prayers go out to the people. Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance in a storm like this. And clearly, this type of storm resulted in flights being grounded and delayed at Logan Airport due to the high winds. Record-breaking gusts as well in Massachusetts. We were just talking about them. We showed you the video in Blue Hill at the Weather Observatory. It was absolutely wild up there. The reporter said, noting December record peak was 95 miles per hour back in 1966, and they were reporting 90-mile-per-hour gusts at 11 a.m. today. So record-breaking winds in Maine. It is insane. Climate change science thrown on its head as the surf-blessed island of Hawaii receives more snow than New York and Boston combined. Ho, ho, ho. And here's the forecast. Powerful East Coast storm, unsettled conditions for the West. A powerful storm was racing northward across New England today, and we just showed you some of the aftermath. Heavy rain, strong winds, and coastal impacts will continue. Colder and windy conditions will spread across the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley, the Appalachians, and the East Coast by morning. Lake effect snow and upslope flow in the Appalachians will bring snow accumulations and difficult travel conditions. The West Coast will see more rain and some snow as the models are heating up for an epic deluge of snow, including nor'easters and a western dump. Take a look at this through the 3rd of January, and let's walk it through with you. Here is Tuesday into Wednesday. You can see that heavy snow is going to be dumping quite considerable amounts in the West Virginia, North Carolina mountains there, as well as lake effect snow from Lake Erie. And we have snow moving all the way down the Sierra Spine, maybe up to 16 inches in some places, well before Christmas. Here is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday is when the action in the West happens. Saturday into Sunday, that'll be your fun day for most of the Four Corners, where we're expected to get up to maybe a foot of snow pre-Christmas. Here is Christmas Eve forecast, and that is a white Christmas for everyone with color, including the Northeast. Christmas Day will move it through. A major storm is going to be moving east Christmas Day, and maybe could be seeing 2 to 3 foot of snow in southeastern Wyoming. Yeah, that's a bonus. The 27th, the 28th, 29th. By the 28th, a major nor'easter may move up the East Coast and dump record-breaking snows for the Virginias. Take a look at that, showing 26 inches at the bullseye. Shut up, Al, get in your hole! He said that the models are just made by computers. Seismic update, no quakes of note. Wow, one of the big rumblers over in China. We had earlier activity in China with a 5.1 just south there at the India border, and another rumbler in central China at 5.9. So China is becoming quite active and winning the big winter chicken dinner. Interesting quake in the U.S., 3.1 in Waltonville, Illinois. How Illinois are you? And that brings us to the big story of the day. An eruption started close to Hagafell Mountain north of Grindavik just hours ago. And that started off and was kicked off with an earthquake swarm. And let's just refresh this and see if that swarm is continuing. It's now ended. And this must be the cracking of the earth with that massive amount of lava that is now flowing up on the surface. So much lava that it has already eclipsed all of the eruptions in the last 3 years. And this fissure is gigantic. It is now over 2.5 miles long and still growing. Whew. Now, the latest information gives reason to hope that Grindavik might not be hit by the eruption, but the efflusive lava is exceptional. Now, there is a risk of lava flowing to Grindavik, but we really won't know till daybreak and see how those preventative measures are holding up. According to Kristin Jomtier of the Iceland Met Office, the worst possible location for an eruption has occurred. It is directly near the Blue Lagoon and the geothermal power plant that provides electricity for the entire Reykjanes Peninsula. So that is very scary. And if this eruption does last for weeks or months, I believe the entire region is probably doomed. Now, the fissure is still getting longer. It grew to 3.5 kilometers 4 hours ago and is now larger. The lava flow in the eruption is many times higher than the eruptions of recent years on the peninsula. Bad news. But the police chief in Sadornes says that no one should be in danger because this fissure is in a remote area. Bad news is drones have been banned, and so really excellent footage will only be coming out from government entities. Reykjanes Brot has been closed and people are asked to evacuate it, whatever that means. Here is a hint of better news from the utilities. Lava flow from the eruption does not threaten the infrastructure in Grindavik or in Svartsvengi as things stand right now. But all this can change, especially if the length of the eruption continues. And so that's good news. According to the experts, they say the situation is favorable as could be hoped with it erupting near this very critical infrastructure and given the large scale of the eruption. Now, We showed you some of the initial moments of the eruption here as it began, and it rapidly increased in size within just 20 minutes. Here you can see it's over 2 kilometers. These fountains are hundreds of feet in the air. This is nothing like the last 3 eruptions. Very dangerous fog and other toxic gases coming from this. So this is really not a tourist-friendly volcanic event, but it's much more violent than any of the others. So if you just look at a little portion like over here, this is probably the size of the last 3 eruptions, when we're looking actually at miles of a gigantic gash in the earth pumping magma out that was just shot up from the mantle. This is an amazing geologic moment, and we'll go down in history as per usual. Now, there was some bad weather earlier, but here we are at the Reykjanes multi-view live stream, and it looks like the wind has cleared up, and there is some spectacular footage from 3 different camera angles. Now, we went live about 4 hours ago when the eruption began, and so this was the stream we were using, and it was fantastic, where you could see this is over a mile wide here, and it continues to grow. Let's move it all the way up to the new live stream and see where we are right now. There you go. Obviously, it's being occulted back behind this mountain here and another mountain here, but fantastic amount of lava bubbling up from that sill that has been receiving magma now for weeks. So this eruption probably will last at minimum weeks, if not months. And that's probably bad news for the people in Grindavik and the Reykjanes Peninsula. And once again, our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers go out to those affected by this beautiful volcanic event, albeit deadly and destructive. Just take a look at that. Mother Nature in her glory. Now we're going to be keeping a close eye on this eruption as things develop, and by tomorrow we will have a handle on it and some of the infrastructure as the sun rises to see where that lava is flowing. The majority of the lava was flowing west, I believe, and away from Grindavik and east. So it was flowing in both directions, not south for the most part. If the lava begins to flow south, that's bad news for hundreds of people and an entire town, which has already been destroyed by uplift, faulting, drop down, and other cracks and fissures in the area. Most of the homes have been destroyed. Space Weather News update. We have had after effects of that major coronal the major coronal mass ejection coming from the X8, a 2.8 solar flare the other day. This was the main geomagnetic storm. There was another peak about 12 hours later that brought us up to KP6, and another reverberation just moments ago has brought us to KP 4.5. The aurora outlook is not that spectacular unless you're up in northern Canada, but this could accentuate over the next few hours. Hours of powers. Let's take a look at Discovery solar wind. It's showing a major perturbation, another passage of some energy in the negative direction. So density dropped drastically low, as well as plasma speed, but it is reverberating. It's actually wiggling and jiggling in a big way. Magnetometer is not going off the charts that much, which is why the aurora is limited at best. So if you have a chance, get out and look up. And good news, Biden's approval rating sinks to an all-time low in a new national poll. Well, good riddance for this dementia-ridden psychopath that is driving us into World War III. America's Have Question in a Monmouth University poll gave President Biden particularly poor marks on his handling of everything, including inflation, immigration, and the complete destruction of the earth. And that's a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are shadow banned and we need your help to grow. We love each and every one of you. Be safe. And that is a boom. Iceland is erupting. Hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. We love you.